Hi folks, this is your MWIS Fleeting View in association with Petzl. Quiet weather conditions continue at the moment with high pressure still in charge through midweek. The air temperature on higher mountains in Scotland is a good few degrees above freezing point, above an inversion, although some hard frost again will be experienced in the valleys and the glens. Extensive snow cover still on the mountains. That terrain is still at least substantially frozen and will stay that way onwards into the weekend as well. Some low-lying fog, particularly around the central belt, but a few of the other glens as well, and some banks of low cloud just drifting onto some lower slopes around the northwestern coasts and may drift into some corries further across the northern portions of the highlands, but most higher mountains in the clear in the sunshine. Cloudier skies drawn in across England and Wales on an easterly breeze, strongest toward the south, western spots across Wales and the Lake District favouring best for sunshine here. Our area of high pressure will just be slowly weakening through the second half of the week, and that will allow some low-level fog banks to drift further upslope into banks of low cloud in places. Many higher mountains in Scotland at least will stay above the fog level. Some of the cloud banks may just drift a touch higher near to some northwestern coasts where the wind just strengthens somewhat, but most places will see light winds throughout. Rather cloudy and murky conditions across many hills in England and Wales. A few high tops poking out above that, particularly again across more western regions. Quite variable conditions just locally to be found in these areas. It does stay broadly dry and temperatures, at least on the highest tops in Scotland, stay above freezing. Some further frost into the valleys and the glens. As the high weakens further into Friday, the scope for inversion conditions just fades as cloud will tend to fill in and lift further up the hill slopes, so shrouding many of the hills and mountains with various banks of cloud at different elevations in places. Some spots of drizzle, pockets of snow flurries even across some western mountains in Scotland just as a front is approaching, mostly amounting to very little. The wind at its strongest toward the far northwest, but many places hanging on to light winds, rather benign and dull conditions for Friday. A weak front will continue to journey southwards across the country on Saturday. That will clear out some of that lower level murkiness that will have been around on Friday and leaving some brighter and sunnier spells with just a scattering of brief light showers around some western and northern coastal districts, one or two snow flurries drifting inland across the hills but amounting to very little. The wind quite chilly, air temperature will be sub-zero across the higher tops with the freezing level around 600 or 700 metres in Scotland, 800 to 1,000 metres for England and Wales. Westerly winds will strengthen through Saturday evening and night and into Sunday. The risk of extensive gales across the mountains, severe gales on higher tops at least in Scotland. Looking pretty wet across western mountains in Scotland as well, with milder air coming in from the Atlantic, so some thawing will take place to higher elevations most likely by this stage. Rather wet conditions do look likely to continue into next week, with slow-moving fronts draped through across Scotland and further gale or severe gale force winds for a day or so across the mountains. Temperatures may just fluctuate, most likely mild across southern Scotland, England and Wales, may just drop a bit cooler near to freezing on some northern Scottish mountains, but I'd expect a period of thawing at least to continue for a couple of days further. A general westerly influence is likely at least in the early part of next week, with low pressure toward the north and high pressure well out over the Atlantic. That pattern may just vary a bit through midweek, and there's some uncertainty in just how that pattern does evolve for a while, but indications would suggest that higher pressure starts to build again from the west across the British Isles into the Christmas period, so things may just go quieter again heading further forwards. We'll keep you up to date with those plans as we head towards the festive period, but for today that is your Fleeting View in association with Petzl. Thanks for watching.